Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andrew.
Hey.
Very, as always, so excited to talk to you for an hour as though no one's listening.
Bet you are.
But is anyone?
Yes, this is D from PR, Puerto Rico.
D.
Let's see. Hey guys, somebody from Puerto Rico here. Back in October 2023, there was an episode where Elizabeth shared her experience with a very friendly Starbucks barista.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, the drive-thru barista.
Oh, that was during their apple cinnamon croissant. Oh, God.
That wasn't it. It was something different.
No.
It's not a croissant, right?
Right. Well,
Apple.
Oh, God, it's
It was
so
good, though.
I hope they're coming back.
They'll come back.
Okay.
The barista asked what she would say to someone, and she said, "It's all going to be okay." Well, I had just left my annual mammogram appointment, and something did not look good. I was crying on my way home because I knew it was not good news. Just as I was driving in tears, I heard Elizabeth's words, and it felt like a message for me. Oh. Cut to today, 16 chemo rounds.
Oh, my God.
Which, by the way, I had on Wednesdays, so your new episodes were a treat.
Aww.
A bilateral mastectomy. What does that mean?
I think both breasts.
Whoa. And all my hair gone and growing back again. I just got the news that the surgery pathology came back negative. Okay.
Wow. Oh, my God. What a relief.
That's incredible.
Congrats. Holy shit. And thank you.
Wow.
So much.
You have deserved a 5-star review since I started listening way back then, but today feels like the day to write this. Everything is indeed okay.
Yay!
Holy shit.
Wow.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for sharing, and congratulations, and wow. Perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Also, not that I have anything going on, but it is a good reminder that everything is going to be okay, you know? Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, often.
Often.
Yeah.
Most times.
Yeah. And not always.
Not always, as I've experienced.
Like long-term things tend to shake out in a path. Sometimes the valleys, peaks and valleys, as they say.
Yes.
It's not always valleys.
No, and this is very different. I think where the rubber meets the road really is when you get like a medical diagnosis or something very tragic happens.
Yeah.
Let's put that aside.
Yeah, that's why in that context of you saying it's all going to be okay, it's like
because sometimes it's
some
not.
people, it's not
sometimes
okay.
it's not. But I am glad for D in Puerto Rico it is.
Yeah.
So I read something recently that was like any no's or like things that are happening in your life that feel bad are just protecting you from karmic bullshit, basically. Meaning whatever path that would have been wouldn't have been the right one for you. Now, that's hard to say in the context of obviously someone getting a diagnosis of something horrible. That's different.
I almost think I think that's a nice framing. Mm-hmm. But part of me doesn't actually think that that's true. I think it's a nice framing for people to have. So they're moving forward with momentum and not getting stuck in these diversions and not getting in the weeds with them.
Right.
But I do also sometimes like to think, though, that the universe is helping your hand through it as well. But I think there probably are things that happen to people that maybe aren't for a reason.
Yeah. I think, well, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
I was getting fed because Instagram knows me better than I know myself. This kind of medium psychic woman talking about all of these questions about all of this stuff. And one was, do you think life is predetermined for you?
Yeah.
Let's assume the thing that sucked me in with this woman was she was doing one of those reaction videos to a mom who was videoing her child who was speaking about his past life. Mm-hmm. You know, and the
mom, the medium was doing a reaction to it.
Exactly.
It wasn't the medium's kid.
No,
because I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah. No, this was just some random person.
Got it.
And of course, I gave it my full attention, and but then I kind of went on a wormhole with this medium, and she was saying if we can assume there are past lives, we assume we go into another dimension or whatever it is, okay? Assuming that there's more than just this. Do you think that your life is kind of predetermined? And I kind of do and I don't. I almost feel like when you're choosing to come inhabit this body for this experience, which is how I kind of view things, maybe there are certain major guideposts that you're signing up for. Like maybe I did sign up for joining this amazing family with my incredible parents, but knowing that I would lose them earlier. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I don't think you knew that when you signed up.
You don't think my soul knew that when I signed up?
No, I think that was part of this journey.
Okay, great. So part of this journey, but maybe was that a predetermined part of the journey? Was it not? I don't know.
Sure.
But I do think like all of the interim stuff is very much driven by ourselves. But what this woman was saying, which I really liked, is that our spirit guides are like angels surrounding us.
Yeah.
Are there helping us navigate all of this stuff? So in the sense of when let's use yet another pass on a pitch I did, which keeps happening, which the thing that makes me feel totally fine with it is sometimes, and sometimes I'm not, obviously, but is thinking, okay, I have support through this, and how can I turn this lemon into lemonades? Lemonade. Like...
Or lemonades.
Or lemonades. Multiple.
Lots
Pink,
of them, yeah.
Otherwise, we don't know.
Yeah.
But what is this freeing up for me? Because if it were a yes, then I'm committed to XYZ, which I want and have wanted. But now that's not an option in this specific situation.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do with the energy and time and stuff that creates for me? And whether it's, oh, I get to spend more time with my kids and take them to their basketball and swim practices, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
If it's, oh, I'm going to finally write this novel that is, in my head, but I'm terrified to do, great. If it's just, oh, I'm going to take naps, great. I
think that's like an amazing framework. And I think part of it might be maybe there are angels, universe that are making those things come into play. But I think more importantly, the fact that you have this attitude instead of being like someone passed on this thing and then you're just like stuck at this roadblock, right? I think it's so cool that you have this framework saying, no, this is opening up space for other things. Maybe this thing's not meant for right now, or maybe it is, but that you're still moving forward through potentially whatever this thing is, this journey, this lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think to like compare it to like a video game, maybe.
Yes.
If we were before this signing up for different games, like there's a big screen of different games. What do you want to play? I think they're probably more complex than the video games we can even imagine right now that we've all played. But it's like, yeah, I'll sign up for this one. Or someone might be telling you, this is the one that you need to do because you need to learn some other things.
Right.
But I don't think it's completely predetermined, the game that we sign up for.
Interesting. Now,
I think there's a choose your own adventure a little bit to it, but there is also a essence to the game. So there is some built-in programming. Like, we all know it's going to end in death, every one of these versions of the game. Right? And some other things, too.
I also... Oh, I wanted to ask you, because I have this concept of my parents and knowing who they were personality-wise.
Yeah.
Being with me sometimes, and that brings me a lot of comfort.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about or felt that you have spiritual cheerleaders, and who that might be, or have a vibe of who they are, or what the support feels like?
No, I think I've entertained the thought of it, and like, wouldn't that be nice? But I don't think I've ever actually felt it.
Okay.
And had the thought, like, I bet this person is looking out for me right now. Like,
so
this
what
specific
about
person.
how we met in New York, which was pretty magical for anyone, you know.
You're at a David Copperfield show.
We knew each other as children. You had moved away. We hadn't talked to each other in 13 years. We knew each other in St. Louis, and this was in New York City. I passed by you twice one night, and your friend who was there with you was like, go say hi. You recognized me.
Yeah.
So I have always, in my mind, had the story that was mostly my mom's doing of kind of gifting you to me because I'd been going through a hard time after losing them. It was really solidified when I got into the cab that next morning after we had hung out all night. And this very specific, important to me, connected to her song was playing in the cab.
Yeah.
It felt like, it was me type thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought that that was also a gift for you?
I have definitely thought that it did feel magical, as we've said, and faded in a way. And amazing. I don't know if I've thought gift, but I like that interpretation.
Great.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I think about this stuff a lot, though, because what you're saying in this attitude, if you will, or maybe it is, maybe it's all predetermined. Fucking well, we don't know. None of us know.
I don't think so. I think there has to be some level of free will.
But my friend and I hit a bit of a hiccup with some work stuff recently, and I felt so calm about it. Like, it's okay. This is, as you've said, this might open up time for other things, or this isn't meant to be, or all this stuff. But I think it's so helpful, and I think easier to subscribe to this process the older I get. I don't know if you found it easier as older you get, where some of these things I think could really stop me in my tracks, whether it's work related or not work related, whether it's just like emotional things of growing up and going through stuff.
I feel like so much of my vibe about things now is dictated by hormones, which I saw this whole thing about for women. You're going through life, right? Your puberty hits. Then your hormones go on this ride every month.
Yeah.
Then you get to 40 something and like your hormones just like fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
For men, it's just pretty much like you go through puberty and there's this like slope of hormone and then you just kind of ride it out.
Yeah, I think it like just slightly
goes down.
But over a nice long period of time.
Yeah, and how I wish someone could quantify the difference of human experience given that. And it also, seeing this infuriated me because going back to not that long ago where it was like women are hysterical, women are, overly blah, 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 all of these things that you write women off with.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's like,
can we list more?
Yeah, we're crazy bitches because look at like what we're dealing with. But
you're talking about the men's cycle?
Well, no, and going through, well, yes, the cycle every month we have to go through, and then perimenopause. And actually, menopause is interesting. Menopause is like a destination you reach. Now, someone who knows what they're talking about might be hearing this and going like, shut the fuck up, you idiot. But
they might want to menopause you right here.
Well done. Do you know that I made that very joke maybe 25 episodes ago and you told me I could never make it again?
I'm so glad I did it for you then.
Okay, great. So menopause is officially reached, I think, when you're 2 years out from having a period or something like that. Perimenopause is really when the stuff is happening in terms of night sweats, dry vagina,
So why do they call it going through menopause?
Exactly. I think it's a...
Should be heading to menopause.
I think it's like vulva and vagina. You know, it's one of those things that's been socially accepted. People don't say vulva when they're talking about vulva. They say vagina.
What's the difference between the vulva and the vagina?
So the vulva is
I know we've talked about this. I just don't remember.
The vulva is the outside of the vagina. Like if you're looking at me naked, what you are seeing is my vulva. The vagina is the vaginal canal that, you know, you've frequented for many years, that goes inside.
Is the labia part of the vulva?
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know now.
Yeah.
I hate it when we have these conversations and I'm so sure.
You just type in, is the labia...
Okay, don't worry.
No. Yeah, is labia part of vulva?
Of the vulva. By the way, yes, the labia majora and minora are part of the vulva. The components of the entire vulva are the mons pubis, labias, clitoris, urethra, vulva vestibule, vestibular bulbs, didn't know what that was, Bartholin's glands, what the fuck, Skene's glands, and vaginal opening.
Well, you also...
So I'm just like, let's make it be known that I was right coming into this conversation, as happens frequently.
Yeah.
When you double down with your questioning, it makes me question it. But I did know this.
So ask it, is the vulva part of the vagina? Just so we can get the no, it's not part of the vagina.
Well, it says a vaginal opening.
Well, no, I understand that part, which would make sense because that's the opening of the vagina.
It says, okay, so many people call this area the vagina, but they're actually really talking about the vulva. Vaginas are actually only one part of the vulva. So
the vagina is part of the vulva, but the vulva is not part of the vagina.
Right.
That's cool.
So, yeah, anyway, menopause. I think that menopause and perimenopause are similar. Like,
what you're
I think
saying,
going through menopause is actually perimenopause.
Right. No, I get it. You're on a destination to menopause. You're not driving through menopause. You're driving through perimenopause, which is on the way to menopause.
Menopause, once you're in peri, I feel like menopause seems like the light at the end of the tunnel. Because then things do kind of level out. You don't have to deal with your period. We now have access to hormone replacement therapy and things that, you know, I don't know much about that, so I don't want to advocate, but it does seem like it's a great option out there. Anyway, but I feel like my hormones, this week I felt like my hormones were kind of all over the place, and I got a pass on a pitch, and I'm still waiting to hear on another thing.
Yeah.
But I've been in such a bad mood at certain points that I thought I could find out right now that they want it, and it wouldn't make me happy. I'd be like...
And you think that's related to perimenopause?
Well, just hormones.
Hormones.
Yes.
Which are more on fuego right now because you're in the beginnings of perimenopause.
I think I'm fully in it. I don't even think I'm in the beginning. I think
How long is the driving analogy?
I'm into the road trip. We're stopping at a Quick Trip. I've just gotten some Twizzlers. There is already some trash in the car that's accumulated.
But that's frustrating, that trash.
Well,
it's irritating. You want to take care of it.
Since we're getting gas, we might as well.
Throw it away. Why aren't we throwing away the trash? We've stopped to get gas.
Yes. And why is this sticky? Why?
What's sticky?
Someone somewhere put something like a wrapper.
So not the vagina now. This is still the analogy? Yeah. This is a sticky piece of candy in the car? Yes. Is the car the vagina or no?
No.
The car is... No, you're in the car driving.
Yeah.
The car is life.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. But I just do also want to say, I think one thing I've really dialed in terms of getting these bad news is I give myself whatever day I'm getting that bad news, I give myself the rest of that day to really wallow in the self-pity.
Well, that's a whole other thing, which is great. You got to feel those feelings, right?
Yes. So if I'm finding out at 5 p.m., I have 5 hours of that. If I'm finding out at 10 a.m., I have longer to really like sit in the like.
Yeah, and you'll watch one of your really demented documentaries.
Yes. And so then the next day I'm kind of like,
or is that documentary the next day?
It might be the next day,
yeah,
actually.
That's a recovery.
But it's time to march on. Exactly. I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself.
You're going to feel sorry for other people.
Yes. Well,
that went through like brutal murders.
Those documentaries, we talked about this. It's a way of placing. I don't want to watch something that is going to highlight how I'm incapable of feeling a certain level of joy right now.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because, I mean, everyone goes through bad things. Dee, our lovely reviewer, is a perfect example of that. When certain things happen, it gives you perspective. None of this bullshit matters. Mm-hmm. As long as you and your loved ones are healthy and safe, all of this other stuff is truly gravy. If good things happen, enjoy them. If bad things happen, let that, process that and then move on. Mm-hmm. And another way of moving on is I recently saw something about someone basically trying to approach life as a benevolent alien.
What are you watching lately? Or what's your Instagram feed?
It is Instagram. And I don't know. It's kind of become weird.
Okay, that sounds...
So what that means, it sounds weirder than it is. What that means is when I go to fill up my water glass at our refrigerator, instead of just being like, ugh, I'm filling up my water glass and I'm thinking about...
That's how you are getting water? Water is hard for you?
No, like...
I've never had that thought geting water. I'm just like, now I'm getting water.
Well,
oh, God.
No.
I had to walk over to this machine.
No. But I could be thinking, I just cleaned this floor and now it's dirty again. Or, oh my God, I forgot to XYZ. I should have done that. I could be getting into the like banal frustrations of life and mentally. Mm-hmm. But instead, to look at the sweater as a benevolent alien and go, holy shit, this is incredible. Like this crystal clear liquid is coming into my glass. Wow. And like, what is this arm and skin, and then when you're walking through the world being like, those flowers look like fireworks coming off of that tree. I have been seeing a lot of those lately.
Recently, you portrayed a similar sentiment recently. And this is delightful to me because I gotta be honest, this is a lens I have quite often in my life that you find irritating. Me taking the delight in, like, I wonder how that's made. Yesterday, it was last night. There's a taco place that we go to, and we just happened to park in front of it. And I saw a man that worked there coming out with trash from the front. But I know the trash can's out the back door. And I just stopped to wonder, why on earth would he be coming out of the front door instead of the back door? And I really wanted to know the answers why, because I'm so curious and wondered. And you were like, we'll never know. Like, get over it.
Well, I think that is the thing is you missed your chance to ask
No,
him.
that's not it. But I'm just saying I like this new attitude on you because I think it maybe will give you a little bit more perspective on me and a little bit more grace with some of the curiosities I have.
Well,
because if I was ever to be at the water station and say, if I was to describe the water that way,
you don't say it out loud.
But if I was to share that moment with you, if I was to share that moment with you, you would walk out of the room probably.
Well, similar, the same would go both ways.
If I came in the kitchen and you were like, can you fucking believe this? I would pull up a fucking bucket of popcorn, a comfy chair, and be like, go on, please.
Hey, Andy.
Yeah.
A couple things. I think that your curiosity for these like really mundane, weird things is, by the way, I go on that ride with you so often and you don't give me credit for it. I really do.
Well, it seems like now you're going to be going on even more, which is great. So
no, I'm saying these are different things. Your curiosity about like how things work and blah, blah, blah is very different from moving through the world with a wonder and awe at everything as though you're seeing it for the first time. Those are two different concepts.
There's a similarity to me because my curiosity really does pour into the like, whoa, life is beautiful kind of stuff in the mundaneness. So I think if this was
that person's taking rotting food. Life is beautiful. Why is that person taking the rotting food and trash and maybe poop to...
Okay, why would there be poop in the trash bags?
Because baby diapers. Baby diapers.
Oh, getting changed in the bathroom at the restaurant?
Wipes. People don't flush those. They shouldn't.
All I'm saying is if there's the Venn diagram, the two circles, there's some overlap in that section here.
Sure.
For what we're talking about.
But I just want you to give me a little credit for the 20 years that we've been together. How often...
You have to put up with this.
No, I go on the journey with you. I do. Many times. I feel like there was a thing. We went out last night for the first time ever. Feels like. We went to a house party, which is like unheard of for us. I think it's probably the first time. And
we go to house parties. I guess this was more of a...
This felt like more of a house party.
When we think house party, it's like a Christmas party or
yes.
New Year's or...
Right. It's
a big birthday.
Yes.
But this was a birthday party.
This felt more like old school house party, which was very fun. It was delightful. And we saw a lot of people we love and haven't seen in a long time. But I feel like there was something that happened leading up to or during.
Well, we definitely saw that employee from the restaurant coming out the front door with the trash before this party.
I did find it, this is such unfamiliar territory for us that we went to dinner beforehand. And as we were leaving dinner, I said, we should probably have like a code word for each other if we need to leave the party, because I had the you type of anxiety of like, I don't know what this is going to be like. And what if I want to leave and how am I going to deal with that? And you go, or we could just like say, hey, let's go.
Yeah. But we did come up with a code word and we did have to go because you
had some tummy trouble.
You had the potentials of tummy trouble.
I don't like you pointing at me. No, you don't think that counts as tummy trouble? I was sitting down talking to someone new, asking them, interviewing them about their life. And I wanted to ask you this. We were outside. Were you sweating? Because I was having some serious cramping going on.
You were fighting it back and getting
I
the
was
sweats.
Like, I don't know if this is insane period cramp and I'm about to like have a murder scene happen here out of my vulva.
Wait, pause. I know I've probably asked you this before. My apologies. There is a similarity in the feeling of period cramps and diarrhea cramps.
Yes.
What's the Venn diagram on that, though?
To me, it can be pretty well overlapped.
That is a mind fuck for me. And
really?
Must be a mind fuck for all women. Whoa.
Well, I don't want to speak for all women, but for me, yeah. It's like this was like, oh, my uterus is fucking freaking. If it were cramps, which I think it wasn't. What I think it was just gas and something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I was sweating and I had to look at you and we have a code word, which is the name of a very random woman who we've been watching on YouTube. And did I say her name?
Yeah, you did.
But I said, let's say it's Sheila McKee.
Yeah.
Sheila McKee, I have to go. I'm having some stomach issues.
Did you even tell me the stomach? Yeah, maybe you did.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay.
And I think I said, like, out loud, I might shit my pants. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then we got up.
And we left pretty shortly after there.
Yeah. Hey, you just got back from a trip.
I did.
Do you have anything to share from that trip?
Well,
you usually have fun stories.
We went to Idaho. I took the kids to Idaho to see relatives. Super fun. It was 110 degrees, which that's wild. That felt wild for multiple days.
Well, cut to 20 years from now, it's going to be like 120 degrees.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yikes.
At the pace we're going.
I'm trying to think if I have any crazy stories. Really, because of the heat, we had a few options. It was like in the morning, get out there, run any errands if you need to. We'd go to the grocery store. We went and saw a movie, Despicable Me 4. And then it was like, we're going to the pool. or we're hanging out inside. Like that was our only option. So we got a lot of good family hang time.
Oh, that's nice.
And
the kids had a great time. Love to see everyone.
They swam like maniacs. Yeah, nothing huge to report. Our daughter was very surprised by like the grocery store of the people being like, is everybody old here? Because one day we went to the grocery store and it was all senior citizens there. And it was kind of odd after she pointed it out to me.
Was the area that you were in?
I don't think so, no. Because the like neighborhood my parents live in is like very mixed generationally. And like when we would go to the pool in their neighborhood, it was all younger people. But yeah, the grocery store was like it was filled with a bunch of grandmas.
Well, maybe there was like a home that had brought their people there to do the shopping. Didn't seem like that.
This is the type of curiosity that is such a beautiful thing. I hadn't even thought of something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what if you walked out of the grocery store and then you saw the like something Manor van, you know?
Yes, Golden Acres Manor.
Golden Acres Manor.
Uh-huh.
And it was like a Sprinter van. You're like, oh, that's so sweet. They're bringing them to get their rations for the week.
Can we talk about senior homes?
Yeah.
I know that for a lot of people, and I don't know how I will feel when I get to that stage of life.
Yeah.
I do know at this point in my life that life happens very quickly, and you might think I'm never going to be that. Is going to happen sooner than you think. You know, we are going to be senior AARP members and all of that stuff. But so I know that it's kind of a devastation for many people to be like put in a home. It's like I think probably emotionally on many levels. One is like, well, this is kind of the slope towards the end. This is we're in the last chapters situation. That's pretty hard for people to reckon with.
Yeah.
You're leaving behind like the comforts of home, and I'm sure at that point, like maybe a lot of people are way more set in their ways.
Yeah.
And it's maybe feels like a lack of independence. You know, there are a lot of reasons why that would be very hard. But I almost like look forward to that in a weird way because I think of it as being kind of like a college atmosphere.
Well, yeah, they're not all built the same.
Yes.
So there's that comedian Greg Fitzsimmons, who we're familiar with. I've listened to his podcast over the years.
Did he come on our podcast?
No, but Mike Gibbons, who works with him a lot, did.
Yeah.
But Greg, over the years, I've heard multiple times talk about this place. I think it's in Orange County or maybe between San Diego and the OC. But he has said, like, I'm convincing all my friends to get together as a group to make sure we all end up at this place. And he says it's incredible. Like, you know, there's multiple golf courses. It's beautiful. There's
like that place
beach
in Florida.
Right. There's that documentary, cool documentary. But there's all these social things. Like, they're cool places. Even the place my dad's brother, my uncle, they lived somewhere in California. It was really more of a neighborhood. Right?
Yes, but they had facilities.
If you needed them, and then tons of social activities all the time. So yeah, I think it's more, there
are different kinds.
These. Yeah.
This is why you need to really start socking away for retirement. Because I'm assuming the main difference is probably expense. And then, of course, there are the places where, you know, I think it would be depressing to go live in a home like where you have kind of your dorm room and the people who are there maybe are suffering from Alzheimer's or things where you can't engage the same way that you would. What you're describing, this neighborhood of like, we have a home here.
Yeah.
Like in this kind of cool neighborhood party land with all of these activities.
Yeah.
You can do as much or as little as you want.
Yeah.
I'm still doing my own grocery shopping. But if I fall, like, I'm covered. That's ideal.
And then, obviously, I have to mention, you know, these places are rife with STDs.
Of course you have to mention that because it's important. Now, I think that maybe that will change, but that generation the current generation who are living that lifestyle did not have access to the same sexual education.
Interesting.
And so now they did live through the HIV.
Yeah.
What's it called? Bad time.
Yeah.
So you'd think, but I'm curious if it's like a lack of education and awareness, and that was, that's the generation who are getting married in the 50s and 60s, 70s. I don't know. I'm not doing math well, but like it was more traditional, and you didn't have sex technically until you were married, and then there's no need for birth control, and it's whatever. Or if it's really like, look, I only have 10 years left if I'm lucky to use this vulva or use this schlong. I'm not gonna be encumbered by a condom. I'm not gonna take hormones. Well, I guess by that point you're ovulating.
You don't have
so
to worry about
matter.
anyone getting pregnant.
Right.
It's more just like gonorrhea, herpes,
things that you need
like
a condom. I mean, specifically, you got to use a condom, right? There's no way around that.
Gonorrhea.
All of those STDs.
Yeah.
The only answer, really, why is there not an alternative? I know there was like the sponge at some point, or like
that was a birth control thing. That wasn't
female condoms. I don't think none of them.
Female condom, I think, helps with STDs,
but what is that? I don't even know what that is.
The female condom?
Yeah.
Imagine a condom, but much bigger, that you would put inside the vagina.
Inside the vagina?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of STDs are transmitted with the vulva.
Well, no, it comes out, so you're there's.
It's basically saran wrap, like covering the whole area.
Not saran wrap. It really is. You might need to pull up a picture of a female condom so you can wrap your head around it.
I hate. Wait, who was I with recently? I think it might have been Andrea Savage, of course, God love her. But I'm watching this disturbing documentary, and of course, one of the things that they found, on some guy's computer, when we've talked about how you were Googling weird animal penises or 10 weirdest.
Oh, yeah.
The things that are Googled on my computer would be disturbing.
Today it's just like women's health. You're going through perimenopause.
What does a female condom look like? But you will agree with me.
That's a really interesting way to look this up. What does it look like? Do you want a description? Just put in female condom and then hit images.
Oh, okay. So it is very much like a male condom, but bigger, but that you put up inside you. That's good. I do think, I wish, this seems like it's probably going to take more effort
they haven't caught it.
utilize.
Yeah, the regular condom's the way to go.
They haven't caught wind yet, but I do think this is good in a situation for a woman. Heaven forbid she's in a situation where, for whatever reason, she doesn't trust her partner to wrap it up. Or, if it's a sex worker who's there are different reasons why this would be really important, but I do think just the standard male condom is probably what needs to be taking hold in these communities to stop the rampant spread of STDs.
I also wonder if older people are more susceptible to STDs because, one, the STDs have mutated throughout the years, and then also maybe older people have slightly less of a immune system that fights against them, so maybe they're more susceptible to
interesting,
burning penis or other things.
Yep.
It's interesting though that there does seem to be a sex renaissance in some of these nursing homes or communities.
I think it's great, and I think it's good to know that people are still rocking that. I think there's this stereotype of kind of once women are beyond menopause, they're not having sex, or men, after. Now, I am curious, if a man needs a walker, let's say, I mean, he might still be having sex.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk, not to pivot too much away from
Oh,
this.
we should pivot, yeah.
So I had something happen to me this week that is, speaking of kind of this idea of good things, bad things, how you process them and deal with them. I had something happen to me this week that I've been working towards for very long now. It's happened to me once before.
Orgasm?
I think probably 6 years ago. I finally built it up enough. No. I, this week, achieved a clean inbox. Now, I need to kind of explain my system for this to make sense because, I mean, in theory, anyone could have a clean inbox at any point in time.
I believe the tech heads call it inbox 0 or something like that.
Okay, I reached inbox 0. Now, I have a very, double Virgo. I have a very kind of organized filing system for my emails. I have everything is labeled and put away to the right place, etc.
Yeah.
The emails I keep in my inbox are emails that are still active. So if it's like, if I have a meeting coming up, if I have a notes call, if there's a social event. Now, and part of the changeover is I think a lot of social events now are taken to text. So
yeah, sure.
It's not sitting in my email for the 2 weeks leading up to the social event.
Yeah.
If it's something that needs to be dealt with or,
And you don't snooze at all?
I don't. And I don't actually even know what that means.
Really? This might be a game changer for you. Do you have your email open right now? Mm-hmm. There's an option to say when I get an event thing, maybe a social event, and it's not for, let me use a different example, concert tickets, okay?
Great.
They get delivered, but the concert's not for 2 months. In your system, that concert's sitting there visible for 2 months. It's a little too cluttery for me. So I snooze it. So there's a button in Gmail.
I see it.
Where you snooze it, and then you can pick the date you want it to come back. So I'll have the concert tickets come back like 2 days before the concert.
Get the fuck
Yeah, and then it just pops up 2 days before as a little reminder.
Of town.
Yeah.
That will change the game for me. Now, part of the game for me, though, is when I had this meeting that was on the books for a month, and then it got pushed. So this goddamn email was at the bottom of my email list for months. Then when I could finally cross it off, it felt months long satisfying.
You got your process. I appreciate that.
But snooze, I think, will really help me. But this is all to say, it's interesting because it's something I work towards constantly. Like the goal is obviously always to get to 0. It's never happening. It's not a goal that I'm like losing sleep over or anything, but like that seems to be the goal because you're constantly getting rid of things and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's almost this idea of like, I'm just working for the weekend, kind of like, I can't really enjoy and relax until this is all off my plate.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It actually was quite depressing having Fox 0. It made me feel so irrelevant.
Worthless?
Yeah. Like, I don't have anything to look forward to. I don't have any, like, there are no people knocking on my door for meetings.
Yeah.
There's nothing coming up for work that I'm like, is an obligation. There's not even, I mean, I clear out my promotions pretty often. I'm not even getting that many promotions.
Even the spam has forgotten about you.
It feels a little, because, you get up and you pour your coffee and you're like, I'm looking at my email to see what there is. And when it's
okay, hold on. I want to know.
It kind of is depressing.
It's so funny. The journey is better than the destination, right?
Yes.
So how soon after you got to inbox 0 destination did you feel kind of the floor fall out from underneath you, sort of?
Yeah.
Was it instant?
No, I think it was, I let myself feel the moment of joy of like,
So it's triumphant for a second.
Triumphant.
Yeah.
I thought it would be repopulated. I mean, it's been like days. So I'm just like waiting. So, and it was to the point that I did need a notes call to get set up. And so I knew that email was coming in. And when it did finally come in, it was like, okay, well, at least there's that.
So what is your current situation? What do you got in there?
Well, so now I have that email that's setting up the notes call.
Nice.
And then I have a legal notice of class action settlement.
For what?
Something to do with the New York Times that, it's probably not worth my time to deal with, but
it's what everybody says. But if everybody says what you said, what's the point, in these class action lawsuits?
Oh, interesting. Well, anyway, this is
wow.
So that's what I got.
Keep me posted on this.
I will.
What a weird conundrum. To me, when I clear it out, I have a much messier thing going on. Mm-hmm. So my clear out just feels great. But let me tell you this. Part of my clear out is I do way too much snoozing. I do snoozing that shouldn't be done.
What? Give an example.
I should just address the email where sometimes I'm snoozing things just to put off having to do it. So my inbox looks cleaner to me.
Can I ask you about that?
Yeah.
This is interesting. Mm-hmm. You have ADHD. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
And a large part of your ADHD is weirdly linked to email, I think, because first of all, I think part of your ADHD is you get upset when people don't email you back in a timely fashion.
Oh, sure.
I mean, we all do, but I think that your upset there's a phrase for it for people who have ADHD. Then you are saying with your email box and being messy and snoozing and stuff like that, you frequently, much less, I think recently and perhaps since your diagnosis, will have me help you craft emails.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not necessarily for grammar or anything like that.
I think it is.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I often think of you because you are such a good writer and communicator. It usually is for that. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. In my mind, there's a hurdle for you mentally.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're probably right about both of them. But if there isn't so the hurdle's much higher for me if it's I don't know what I'm going to write, how I should write this.
Right.
Versus just a task. There's some forms I need to scan and send in. And I've snoozed that a couple times.
Oh.
Where this weekend I'm hoping to do it. But I know how to do that. I just need to scan it and whatnot. I don't need to scan it and then figure out a big email to craft about it.
Right.
Let me give you another example, though. The other day, and maybe I'll get to talk about this on a future episode. It's such a new thing, but I came across a crazy thing that has to do with my work and some illegal streams of some songs that I've written.
Yes.
Yeah, which I'll talk about more because I want to have all the info. Because it is kind of an interesting story.
It is very interesting, yes.
But that was a big hurdle because I had to do a lot of research and compile. I don't know if you saw the body of the email that I need to send, but I had to find a bunch of things and make lists and whatnot, which before that task would have broken me. But I knew I need to do this. And I just set out to do it.
You did it right away too.
Yeah, and then I came to you to help me write because I was like, "Is this clear?"
And it was
explain
totally
this thing,
clear.
And then you helped a couple things. But that example, that would be something that I think I would put off because that having to figure out how to do that because that brought in so many different tasks all into one thing.
Is compiling everything.
Yeah.
Do you feel a level of anxiety? Because I do feel a level of anxiety of this because. Well, I'll get to why, but when you need to write a card to me, and this is different from the card you wrote me for last Valentine's Day, which was just about how I make good nachos. But frequently you send me or you give me cards for birthdays or whatever that are very thoughtful and there's a lot written in them.
Yeah.
Does that give you anxiety, the emotional ones, or does that not have the same level of anxiety?
It's a different thing. I think the only hiccup I would find in those situations is if it's more a time management thing. If I forgot to get the card and then, oh no, I need to write a nice sweet note, but I need to do it fast because I need to give you the card in 2 hours or the next day. That would be the only anxiety. But that's not that hard for me.
I sometimes do get anxiety for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like I want to really express myself well and like take the time to sink into it. Whether it's a card for you or the kids or a dear friend of mine or something, I'm like, how do I put it all in, in a way that's meaningful? I want it to be meaningful. Yeah. I'd love for there to be tears if possible.
I think many times I feel like the cards we give each other on those moments, whether it's Father's Day, an anniversary, whatever, I think we get close to choking up quite often.
Mm-hmm. But the bar is high.
But also at this point, like, we know each other so much that, like, what you're putting in a card, I hope I already know you feel about me and whatnot. I think those cards are much harder, like you writing to a friend that's never received a card from you, maybe something special.
Yeah.
Where between you and me, I know, like...
It is still nice to read, though.
Oh, of course. I'm saying of course, and usually there's sometimes they really get us. Mm-hmm. But let's say if you ever gave me a card and I didn't start crying, it's not... It's no reflection of you or the card
my writing.
Or the right. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, indeed. Well, anyway, Inbox Zero is not all that it's cracked up to be, and it's really weird because I love having goals.
Yeah.
I love working towards things, and it's so nice in my life. You know, I feel like this achievement when lately I've been meal planning every week.
Yeah,
and
crushing it.
Yeah. And it feels really good to, like, have that.
Yeah.
And it lifts a certain anxiety out of my life.
As well, which is crazy, I bet, too. Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, am I even working towards that anymore? What is going to come of my email inbox? Am I just going to let it be populated with dumb legal notice class action shit? Now that I'm just like,
clear that out.
Each
don't
email
start that.
Feels like maybe it's a friend, kind of. Like...
No, don't start that. You got to keep the same system in place.
Okay.
I have two.
Sorry.
No.
Can I just to button this?
Yeah.
You know, this comes on the heels of 14 months, give or take, of like not being important in my career.
It's a little loaded, this email situation.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, okay, you've gotten to like this.
You could almost make like a short film of this where it's like you never get an email again. That's the weird thing. It's almost like a little Twilight Zone film or a Black Mirror.
It's like it took 14 months for like the kind of remnants of a life to wear off. And now it's just I'm moving forward in time. No one's thinking of me. Do I even exist?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That's the Black Mirror episode. Are you alive? Like, is this real?
Yeah.
It's almost like that shows the glitch in the system that happens that all of a sudden you stop getting emails completely.
Yes.
And that's what makes you figure out that you're not real. That's kind of a fun premise for something.
It's a great premise. It does feel very Black Mirror.
Yeah, totally.
I'll call Charlie.
Okay. Let me say this to you. Two quick questions. One, you were telling me earlier that because of perimenopause, you need to get more protein.
Yes.
Does guacamole cheese fries sound good for protein for lunch, or is that not enough protein?
Well, I mean, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That doesn't have that much protein,
the cheese and the guac?
Guac maybe has a little, but
cheese definitely has some.
Cheese has some.
The potatoes don't have much.
It's not like a big source of protein.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I guess the answer is it's probably no. Second of all, I have lunch. Oh, I don't know if I'll get it done in time. Maybe that's tomorrow's lunch. Let's do it. That sounds great. But I want that salad from that place too.
Great.
Okay, so
tofu, protein.
Tofu is protein. This is what I'm saying. As a vegetarian, I need to figure out how to get that protein in. And it turns out I've tried really hard to be a powder person.
When?
This morning.
Did I literally see you do it for the first time this morning?
I have tried protein powder a bunch of times.
Okay, can I say something funny about this morning?
Okay.
I'm so glad that was I witnessed a one-off because
I was putting protein powder into almond milk that I then poured that whole thing into my coffee.
You were standing with a cup stirring something for so fucking long, and I knew not to ask you about it for some reason.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't know. I thought it might have been, what's that stuff you soak in the milk, like chia seeds? I thought you were maybe making some weird chia seed thing because you were like, if it's protein powder, you just put it in, stir it up, and move on with your life.
No,
you were there for like
clumpy.
10 minutes.
No, protein powder is, and I've tried a couple different times over the last decade.
Knowing now it's protein powder, I don't know if you knew what you were doing.
But do you want to know something? I frequently think about this. I'm like, I need more protein. Okay, I'm vegetarian, so I'm not going to do like a chicken breast or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, the perimenopause thing is like, I should be getting like 80 grams of protein a day, and I probably hit 60 if I'm lucky.
Interesting. I don't know.
And it's all about keeping your muscle mass. Like as you age, your muscle mass starts to take a sharp turn.
Yeah.
Because when you have your muscle mass, and you also need to start doing weight resistance stuff, which, you know, I'm like, maybe I need to up my Pilates to 2 times a week.
I think so.
So, because the main important thing, your focus is to avoid falls.
Yeah.
As what we're talking about, when you're reaching the age of, you know, going to one of these fuck communities.
Yeah.
So, I need more protein, but I'm also thinking, part of me also goes to, protein powder is not like a natural thing. You know, shouldn't it just be like if you eat really healthily?
Isn't it sometimes derived from?
Well, yes, it can be derived, but it is by its very nature a processed, unless you're eating like powdered peas where nothing else is put into it, which would be disgusting. But yeah, it's this weird processed thing. I mean, it feels very akin to all the supplements and the chemicals that everyone takes. And I have a part of me that is all for that. And by the way, I take medication that I will take for the rest of my life. I'm very pro pill in that sense. But also I'm like, shouldn't it just be that you enjoy real food that's good for you and eat well and like...
Yeah, but if you're a vegetarian that might need a little bit more protein, or that's not getting as much protein as most people, and you're going through perimenopause, I can see like a doctor being like, you should try to get a little more protein in your diet.
Right. I guess the question is, for me, I don't think it's coming from a powder. Maybe there's like a protein shake someone can recommend that's really great.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like having cottage cheese, or I don't know what the answer is, but
I'd be down to try shake, but would you ever be open to vanilla, or are you chocolate only?
No, I'd be open to vanilla.
Because I think I have to be mindful of protein in the morning. It helps me so much. I've noticed if I have yogurt and granola.
Mentally.
Yeah, and just like feeling fueled. Anyways, we'll check that out. One quick thing I want to bring up now, probably an ongoing discussion. I want to just plant the seed. Your ice machine, I don't know how long it's going to last in our house.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
That's all I get to say right now?
I think that's for another episode.
Oh, fucking
All right, good night.
Good night.